I would like to invite Army Major S. Bhattacharya to make his presentation, sharing the perspectives of the Indian Army pertaining to the future direction of research and innovation as to how Indian Army sees the direction moving forward. Major S. Bhattacharya, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to be here today. I am Major General Bhattacharya. I represent the Army as a user in defense research. I look after the maintenance, repair and overall laying down policies, basically sustainment of Army's equipment related to missiles, guns, radio sets, electronic equipment basically. What I'll do is, in the next 15 minutes or so, I'll cover the areas where the academics, the research institutions can participate in the Army's various ongoing programs, and what are the facilities in the Army with which you can interface with. That will be my focus. I am going to cover 4 issues where we seek the researchers to come and work with us for their various weapon systems. The first is indigenization and self-reliance. The second is development of military simulators. The third is product improvement. And the fourth is involvement in weapon system development. Now, coming to the first one, which is indigenization and self-reliance. All of us know here that the research spending in India on the defense research as a whole is just about 1%, less than 1%, out of which only 23% is spent by industry. Now, if you have to move forward, like today's keynote address said very clearly, that this has got to change. And Army, being the biggest user of defense technologies, is one of the areas which one could look at. We have in the Army the Directorate of Indigenization, which is about 300 people strong. They have design and specification wings in 4 cities, dealing with the various disciplines: armament, engineering equipment, electronics. And what they are seeking to do for the last few years is they take up small components, sub-assemblies of major weapon systems, and then try to reverse engineer it or indigenize it. Especially focus being on the old Soviet and Russian legacy systems. Now here we are already interacting with some institutes, basically with the MSMEs, SMEs and their defense PSUs. We also have in-house our Army base workshops, which are basically factories for overall, depots basically for overall of major equipment. So all of these got together are focusing towards indigenization, and this is one major area and thrust area for us in the future. Now, having said this, indigenization for us in the Army means it's actually based on 2 parts. The first part is that when a weapon system is being developed indigenously, that's our involvement comes into it. One of the examples, good examples, is the national project, Project Dhanush, that is the making of that 155mm gun. I think it's a wonderful job being done by the GCF, and there our inputs are taken. We have a project management team which takes in these inputs from the sustainers, which is us, because we are the users, we are the repairers of the equipment, maintainers of the equipment, and that synergy has worked wonders for this project so far. This is just one of the examples I can give on indigenization. We want to move ahead in indigenization from small components and sub-assemblies into major assemblies, and maybe looking at the weapon system totally. But that's some time away, and we are yet to find our steps in that direction. The second aspect, important aspect we deal in where defense research is concerned, is in development of military simulators. As all of you know, weapon systems are costly. Their ammunition is even costlier. And there is a limit to which we can expend this ammunition. There's a problem of ranges, and training so many people on equipment, such equipment also causes a lot of wear and tear. So for this we have the Simulator Development Division, established about 15 years ago, 20 years ago in Secunderabad, who are interfacing very closely with the IITs and also with industry. DPSUs to develop military simulators. Some of the success stories are development of the driving simulators, gunnery simulators for tank T-72 and the BMP. They have also taken other steps in certain area of augmented reality, but those I would say are baby steps. And this needs to be nurtured. And this is one of the major areas where we seek active cooperation of technology. Like today, it was described very well about this continuum of knowledge, technology and product. And if product has to be the final thing for which all this research and everything is being done, then this product has to have the mainstay. By which I mean that all the research that is going on must include some elements of the user in one form or the other, and one of these areas is the military simulators. This is a very big area for us now. The third is product improvement, and this again includes reverse engineering. Now we have bought many weapon systems, mostly foreign. The OEMs, some of them have gone away, they're no longer in production. Also connected with this is, as our operational requirements change, we need to exploit this expensive weapon system to do more and more. The performance has to be enhanced. They have to be modernized. Performance enhancement basically, and that is what we call product improvement. This is an area in which we are doing internally as much as we can do through various we have a technology board. Their projects are now with the IITs basically and some of the NITs, DPSUs. But this is a domain which will constantly find areas of development. Now the spectrum of development in this domain of product improvement is vast. We can start with small PCBs, the logic of that, algorithms, going on to the complete engines and transmissions and whatnot. Now this is where we also would look at involvement of academics, and the DRDO of course is already with us on this issue. My last issue is on involvement in weapon system development. Now this is something which we are discussing with the DRDO, with the DPSUs also, that when they take up a weapon system development, as simple or as complex as the Akash air defense system, the involvement of the user is very important. In the form of the project management teams which are there, we also seeking that the engineering issues are brought to the fore, because in the system design, the exploitation part of it and the experience gained from exploitation of similar weapon systems comes into use. So in this area also there is a lot of scope of ergonomic system design, etc., where the involvement of academics and everybody can be done. Basically what we are looking at is self-reliance now. When we get a TOT or MTOT, the problem happens that critical technologies don't come to us. One of the very small examples or important examples is the army depends a lot on night vision equipment, mounted on tanks or not mounted, mounted with the infantry weapon systems. And here there is a small component called the DDC, they call it, the Devar Detector Cooler, which is the sensor. Now this, to repair it or to get it, we have to go back to the OEMs, costing millions of dollars in repair contracts. Now this is where the Bharat Electronics is working on it, others are working on it. But these are the small kind of technologies which we can offer to the academics, the research institutions, the research, the research institutes which are being set up, centers which are being set up in the IITs and ITs and other private institutes. These are some of the small technologies which can be taken up and improved upon. Now the point also is coming up is that defense has been driving research all over the world. We have seen this happen in the US. The internet today as we see it is a culmination of what was started a long time ago with ARPANET and DARPANET. So therefore the defense research is actually the cutting edge of research and technology in the nation today, as has been brought out very well in this morning session. And this is where collectively we can do a lot. Today what is happening is there's a lot of disjointed effort. There's tremendous effort being done by the DRDO, and we know the maximum spending is done by the DRDO. They are integrating with other institutions, maybe the top institutions only. But today what was spoken about, setting up of centers of excellence, and the felicitations which was done to some of the private institutes was very heartwarming, because that is where we seek the maximum research areas to come up. If one goes and sees some of the DPSUs, the research centers which have been established, it is very encouraging. Because the young boys and girls, when you ask them that what are you doing, he said, well, somebody will say, sir, we are doing work on signal processing, niche area of signal processing, let's say. And the fundamental work which they are doing is operationalizing those research papers which our academics are coming out with. So that continuum is continuing. And this has to be synergized a little better. That is what our feeling in the army is. And we are willing to go the step. A lot was spoken about ROVs, remotely operated vehicles. Yes, that is the future area. We have weapon locating radars, which is an excellent example of the American ANTPQ, expensive ones, being replaced by DRDO, DRDO and the others who have got together an industry to make our indigenous radars. Akash weapon system already spoken about. And finally, I'd wind up by saying that the way ahead is very clear. The way ahead is in two parts, as we see it. One is involvement of the user in research and development. Because with a user perspective, and that's where I'd like to compliment today's organizers, is that they started the session with us, with the users. So the users' involvement at all these steps, we have a huge number of MTechs, officers who've done MTechs from the IITs. Many of our young people retire very soon, and the involvement of these people would give a lot of dividends. And the other is the Chinese model of reverse engineering. The Chinese have suddenly not had these research institutions. They've worked towards in the 70s and 80s, where the researchers in the US and in Europe, they did the research, did their work, and then they went back to the country in whatever form, and then they opened up those technologies. So that's, I think, the way forward, and I thank the organizers once again to allow me to be here, to privilege. Thank you very much. Thank you.